Cristiano Ronaldo has won 5 Ballon d'Ors, 5 Champions Leagues, the Euros, and 2 Nations Leagues. He's scored more international goals than any man who has ever played football. He's broken records that barely existed when he was born. And yet, every single time someone asks whether he's the greatest of all time, there's always one question, one gap, one trophy that sits empty in the cabinet. This summer, at 41 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo gets one final chance to fill it. This is the story of why it matters so much, how close he's already come, and why it might already be too late. Ronaldo's World Cup story begins in 2006 in Germany. He was 21 years old, wearing the number 17 shirt because Luis Figo still had the number 7. He was already, by that point, one of the most exciting young players on the planet. A step over every 3 seconds, floppy hair, that swagger that would come to define him. He scored once at that tournament, a penalty against Iran. He helped Portugal reach the semi-finals before losing to France. Then came 2010 in South Africa, 2014 in Brazil, and 2018 in Russia. On the opening match day, he scored a hat-trick against Spain. A 3-3 draw that felt, at the time, like the beginning of something, like this was finally going to be his tournament. It wasn't. Portugal crashed out in the last 16, beaten 2-1 by Uruguay. Ronaldo did not score in the knockout round. He walked off the pitch in Sochi, quiet, deflated, and that was supposed to be his last real shot. Then came Qatar, the tournament that felt like the final chapter and ended like a tragedy. We'll come back to that, because to understand what 2026 really means for Ronaldo, you have to understand what happened in 2022 and why it still haunts him. November 2022. Portugal arrived at the World Cup as dangerous outsiders, and Ronaldo was their captain, their talisman, the face of the whole thing. He scored a penalty in the opener against Ghana, becoming the first player in history to score at 5 consecutive World Cups, a record that may stand forever. But something was already wrong. His manager, Fernando Santos, was growing frustrated. Ronaldo had just had the most toxic exit from Manchester United in the club's history, a Piers Morgan interview that torched every bridge on the way out, and a contract terminated by mutual consent mid-tournament. The circus was louder than the football. And then came the South Korea game. Portugal had already qualified for the knockouts. They lost 2-1. In the 65th minute, Ronaldo was substituted. Cameras caught him mouthing something as he walked off. The Portuguese press read his lips and ran with it, reporting that he had mouthed that someone was in a rush to substitute him. Ronaldo later insisted the comment was aimed at a South Korean player who had been telling him to hurry up. But by then, it did not matter. The damage was done. Santos made his move. For the round of 16 against Switzerland, Ronaldo was dropped to the bench. His replacement, a 21-year-old striker named Goncalo Ramos, scored a hat-trick. Portugal won 6-1. Suddenly, the story wasn't about Ronaldo anymore, and when Portugal lined up for the quarter-final against Morocco, he was on the bench again. Ronaldo, the greatest player in his country's history, watched from the sideline as Morocco took a 1-0 lead just before half-time. He came on around the 51st minute. He tried, he ran, he chased, and nothing happened. Morocco held on. Portugal were out. Ronaldo walked off the pitch in tears. Within weeks, Santos was gone. And the image of Ronaldo, crying, subbed, irrelevant, was the image millions of people had going into what everyone assumed was his career's final act. For a man driven entirely by legacy, by being the best, by never ever accepting second place, being benched at a World Cup wasn't just a tactical decision, it was a wound, and Ronaldo has spent every single day since trying to heal it. Here's the thing about Cristiano Ronaldo that nobody ever fully accounts for. He refuses to accept the narrative being written for him. Every single time the football world writes his eulogy, he comes back angrier than before. After Qatar, the consensus was clear. Ronaldo was done at international level. Too old, too much ego, too much drama. Portugal needed to move on to the next generation. Instead, under new manager Roberto Martinez, Ronaldo got better. In the 2024 to 2025 Nations League, he finished the campaign as Portugal's top scorer with 8 goals. He scored the winner in the semi-final against Germany. Then, in the final against Spain, at 40 years and 123 days old, he volleyed home the equaliser that dragged Portugal back into the match at 2-2. He was forced off with a muscle problem before the end. The final went to penalties. Ruben Neves converted the decisive spot kick to win it. But it was Ronaldo's goal, his sheer, stubborn presence, that had kept Portugal alive. He had just become the oldest player ever to score in a major international final. Portugal had their second Nations League trophy. And Ronaldo, at the age most players are coaching, was still the one dragging his country over the line. This is the contradiction that makes Ronaldo so compelling and so maddening at the same time. By every measure, he should be in decline. By every actual result, he is still delivering. The numbers do not lie. And yet, the question remains. Can he do it when it matters most on the World Cup stage? Where, in 5 attempts, he has never, not once, lifted that trophy. Before we even get to the legacy question, there is a more immediate one. Will Ronaldo actually be on the pitch in June? Here is the uncomfortable truth. He is 41 years old. Hamstring injuries at that age do not follow the same rules they did at 28. Recovery is slower. The risk of a recurrence is higher. And the World Cup kicks off in June. Martinez has been publicly clear. Ronaldo will be at the World Cup. His place is not in doubt. He is the captain. He is the leader. He is Portugal's record scorer in World Cup qualifying, and he has been scoring right through the qualifying campaign. But there is a meaningful difference between being in the squad and being the Ronaldo that Portugal need him to be. Any knock, any setback, any moment where the body says no when the mind says yes, and the story changes. The injury shadow hangs over everything. There is something else hanging over Portugal at this World Cup, something that has nothing to do with trophies or records or legacy. In July 2025, just weeks after Portugal lifted the Nations League, Diogo Jota was killed in a car crash in Spain. He was 28 years old, a Premier League champion with Liverpool, a Nations League winner with Portugal, a husband, married less than 2 weeks before, a father to 3 children. His younger brother, Andre Silva, himself a professional footballer, died in the same crash. Jota was the kind of player who made everyone around him better. Quick, selfless, clinical. He would almost certainly have been part of this Portugal squad. He would have been part of Portugal's story. He isn't. And that absence gives Portugal's 2026 campaign a weight that goes beyond football. For Ronaldo, who dedicated that Nations League win to his teammates, who spoke with genuine emotion about what winning for Portugal meant to him, it adds another layer to what this tournament represents. If Ronaldo wins the World Cup this summer, it will be the greatest achievement of the greatest international career in football history. It will silence once and for all the argument that Messi won it and Ronaldo did not. It will be the ending his story deserves. If he does not, if Portugal go out early, or if Ronaldo ends up on the bench again, or if injury takes the decision out of everyone's hands, then the World Cup will forever be the gap in his story, the one thing he could not do. That image, Ronaldo in tears as Portugal were knocked out in Qatar, is burned into the memory of everyone who watched it. It was the image of a man who understood, perhaps for the first time, that time was running out. He has done everything in his power since that night to make sure it does not end that way. The goals, the records, the Nations League, he is still here, still scoring, still refusing to go quietly. Whether that is enough, whether the greatest individual player of his generation can finally deliver a team trophy on the biggest stage, is the most compelling question in football this summer. The World Cup starts in June. Ronaldo will be there. What happens next writes the final chapter of the most remarkable career football has ever seen. If you value the stories that shape the beautiful game, consider subscribing to the channel because we are just getting started. Thank you.